Oh, wow. Hey, yeah. Nothing to see here. Just one of the world's wealthiest people ever throughout human history testing out the latest and greatest artificial robotics technology, laughing like an evil genius. Yeah, nothing to worry about at all. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Lukadowski of WeAreChange.org. A lot to get into today, especially with the utter nonsense spreading all throughout the United States that is ripping this country apart. All in the middle of a lockdown enforced by the police state, as rich people are literally getting out of Dodge and preparing for the worst, activating their doomsday bunkers, or in some instances, private islands. Yep, we're going to get into that and a lot more on this independent media broadcast that goes against all the bull crap that happens in the mainstream media that is filled with outright hypocrisy. As an example, if one person smirks and the media doesn't like them, well, they're going to condemn that and they're going to, quote, take it on while exacerbatingly talking about how wrong it is. But if someone they like does it, it's a sign of a, quote, woman's superpower. A newspaper owned by what people call an evil villain. Now, are you taking care of your health, exercising, dieting, and losing weight, actually being healthy? That's a big no-no to the Telegraph that is shaming the latest celebritard for losing weight because, according to them, it makes them feel sad. Don't worry, you fat, egotistical, gluttonous pigs that are just peon slaves for the establishment. Just sit back and let the United Nations take over, as the New York Times is literally advocating for, as they're saying the United States would benefit from more oversight from the United Nations. All of this as actual problems like the U.S. Federal Reserve enriching the most powerful, creating socialism for the super rich, destroying our way of life. All of that? No. That's just not important. Who cares about that when you got fat people losing weight and people smirking? And that's why today I called for a national lockdown against the mainstream media because of their dangerous spread of mental illness that they are responsible for. I mean, I think it's only logical that we need to lock them down and quarantine them for 2 weeks, have a national shutdown just to slow the spread. But don't worry, it's only going to be 2 weeks. That's it. I promise. Now, because we call out the nonsense in the mainstream media that is pushing the dumbassification of Americans, that is creating this divide and conquer agenda, we, of course, are shadow banned, heavily censored, and, of course, 100% demonetized. So we got to work with good companies that provide good services, and one of them is VPN City. If you're looking for military-grade encryption, unlocking geo-restricted content, whether by content creators or governments, having a service that provides zero logging, zero tracing of your online activity, gives you an extra layer of privacy and security, check out VPN City. It's a service that I personally use, that I personally like. They have really good rates down below. You can see their reviews. And if you're looking for a safer, better online experience, I wouldn't recommend them enough. If you don't like them, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, and I think they're worth checking out. The link to them will, of course, be down in the description and comments below. Also, just another announcement, it is still not too late. I think we have 3 tickets left to our survival apocalypse course happening this Saturday. If you're looking for fun, if you're looking for adventure, if you're looking for real life training that will help you deal with crazy situations in the future, well, this is the place to be. The link to that will also be down in the description. Again, tickets are limited. I think we only have 3 left. Get them before they sell out. We also accept silver, gold, ammo, and cryptocurrencies. So yeah, check out the big training that we're doing coming up tomorrow in around Manchester, New Hampshire. Now that we got that out of the way, I think it's pretty clear that things are not good in the United States, and they show no sign of getting any better. They sure do show a lot of signs of getting a lot worse, especially with all the propaganda and disinformation out there, the total spin out there, conflating issues for, of course, political power. This was greatly exemplified by former First Lady Michelle Obama, who called one of the most violent moments in American history, filled with the most civil unrest, property damage, and destruction of people's private enterprise. Well, she called that an overwhelmingly peaceful movement. And this overwhelmingly peaceful movement continued in Wisconsin the last couple of days, where, of course, private residences and businesses were targeted again, and had their windows smashed for some reason. There was also other people targeted because they had American flags in their homes. And of course, as the mobs raged on, the police were nowhere to be found until they showed up and arrested a bunch of journalists, manhandling them, intimidating, attacking them for trying to report on the actual situation of what was happening down there. And as police continue to turn a blind eye to many innocent civilians being targeted again and again, they are also enforcing insane draconian lockdowns all throughout the United States, which, by the way, are continuing to be extended, especially in places like New York City, where we just got the announcement that Broadway, an industry that brings in billions of dollars to New York City, employs 97,000 people, will be out of work, will be out of commission until the summer of allegedly 2021. And these are some of the projections that we're getting. And why is this happening? Well, this is happening because of government lockdowns. And of course, the ramifications and consequences for this are far more severe than just some people's personal enjoyment or entertainment. I mean, I even went to some of the stupid shows. I even liked some of the stupid shows. I really enjoyed some of them. One of them was directed by Woody Harrelson. I actually got to meet him and talk to him on that private occasion. And it's absolutely unacceptable and sad to see such an industry being brought to its knees that once made a city great. Now, thanks to the politicians, this industry might not even recover. And we have to understand this is done because of politicians, not because of the conholio sickness. As, of course, politicians cheer on certain protests that they agree with when they meet up in the tens of thousands, they abuse their power and they shut down other protests that they don't like. As, of course, they're shutting down the majority of privately owned businesses, as, of course, many billionaires are using this opportunity to enrich themselves to wealths that they never even imagined could be possible. Companies like Walmart, Amazon, and other multinational corporations, well, they're thriving. Everyone else, we're struggling as we're literally being looted and robbed blind of our existence. In Germany, the restrictions are even getting more stricter than they were before, where now people are mandated to wear masks outdoors. There are curfews which have no scientific basis behind them, and the army is called in, as unironically, the German government at the same time says that they want to keep the economy the top priority, as of course they stifle it to its fullest extent by implementing draconian laws that absolutely have no basis in science. I'm sorry, having a curfew? Where's the science behind that? Where's the logic behind that? It only punishes regular civilians who have to do something past the curfew that now have to deal with police extensively. Police, of course, that follow orders and in the name of public safety in places like Australia are literally dragging down and slamming pregnant women to the ground because they left their permitted 5-kilometer radius that the government arbitrarily decided that each citizen could only be in. Yes, we are seeing the full mobilization of the police state right in front of us, as of course they willfully ignore other protests that serve their agenda that cause a larger divide and conquer rift, especially here in the United States. Do you see this twisted thing, this twisted game that's being played against you? And as all of this is happening, we have to understand the big brother surveillance state is waiting in wait, and it's already being mobilized in Australia. It's already being mobilized in the United Kingdom. It's only a matter of time until this comes to the United States. But in the United Kingdom, they are already using highly advanced artificial intelligence technology with cameras that is tracking, tracing, and databasing individuals for, quote, not social distancing and violating this made-up arbitrary laws from, of course, gangster politicians. And the level of sophistication, the level of advanced technological thinking that is provided by this database that watches every single one of your moves is absolutely terrifying and should worry everyone, especially with the future that we are heading into, where the majority of Americans are preparing for the worst. Now, as you know, I personally have made very drastic moves this year myself, moving out of New York City, preparing and even doing survival training courses, learning how to pretty much deal with any kind of situation. And I'm not the only one, as a recent survey by a number of polling companies is showing that the majority of Americans are worried about a civil conflict, specifically highlighting how 61% of Americans saying that we are on the verge of it, with 52% of them already preparing for it. And this is, of course, as we are around the corner before the next election. And of course, they're not the only ones, as we're getting some possible information that some doomsday camps are activating. These are usually very rich people who pay for personalized bug out shelters or bunkers that they could shelter in case of emergencies. And Reuters is now reporting that many of these camps are activating, mainly because of the fear of violence that could happen on Election Day. Now, what's going to happen on Election Day is still unclear. I think it's definitely safe to say that it will be tumultuous. And seeing a lot of these wealthy people flee is definitely not a reassuring sign, as even the New York Times ran a headline talking about how many rich people are personally buying up their own personal private islands in record numbers. And again, we have to realize we are in such a tumultuous state that even Osama bin Laden's niece is saying that she has more grief for being pro-Trump than being Osama bin Laden's freaking niece. And when incidents like that are happening, it should really have you scratching your head wondering what is really going on here. The programming and conditioning by the mainstream media, by Hollywood and many multinational corporations pushing the divide and conquer agenda is very successful, and it's only going to continue to ramp up, as even Yelp announced that now, if someone without evidence labels a company racist, that now they will also brand them that, which will significantly hurt them, creating another Orwellian social credit score system where people will have to abide by the talking points of the establishment or face ramifications from the mob. Well, companies like Trader Joe's that already are being targeted by Black Lives Matter protests because they don't want politics injected into their business, which again should be a choice. If a company wants to remain apolitical, they should, and they shouldn't be targeted and harassed by protesters like Trader Joe's is. Would they be labeled as a, quote, racist store, according to Yelp now? Probably. They're being accused of it right now anyway. Will Yelp be accused of it themselves, since they were deemed a, quote, boys club with an atmosphere fueled by racism and sexism with a hard partying culture? Will Yelp label itself racist? Well, by these allegations, they definitely should. It takes a lot less for you to be the enemy of the mob, and these new quasi-social credit systems, intimidation, fear-mongering campaigns to toe the establishment line are absolute bullcrap, and they are absolutely un-American. Look, there's actual real issues to deal with, whether it's the central bankers, the Federal Reserve, them printing money egregiously, whether it's food shortages, and now many rich people fleeing to their safe houses. Something serious is happening here, and I think we need to start an actual conversation with what is actually going on. The sad part of it all is many people who actually try to start that conversation or make you aware of the actual situation of what's really happening in front of you, those are the people who are usually punished the most by the big brother social media algorithms that, of course, punish you for doing so. The mainstream media narrative, wanting you to be fat, divided, and angry at each other, that's promoted. This voice is not, and that's why it's seriously more important than ever for you guys to share these types of articles, these types of videos, more than ever. Without you, I wouldn't be here, and this is why. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. I look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow during the survival crazy training course that we're doing.